Joining me now is Rahul Singh, the Executive Director of GlobalMedic. Rahul, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Hey, good morning, Roger. It's good to be talking with you again.
What's the situation in Nepal? What have you heard?
It's pretty tragic. This is a rugged mountain terrain area. It's well out past the capital, a few hundred kilometers west, so it's located between, let's say, China and India in kind of that middle of that western region. This is a very shallow earthquake, not a very big earthquake. 6.3s aren't huge, but because it was so shallow, violent shaking and then buildings come down, and it's a significant death toll, like they're talking well over 150 now. And the other problem that they have is there's very few hospitals in this area, and those hospitals are now overwhelmed. I remember working, volunteering as a very young man so many years ago, 3 decades ago, in a rural hospital up in the mountains in Nepal, much smaller than the one that your viewers are seeing right now. And you can imagine how quickly those hospitals would be overwhelmed because forget the dead for a moment. There's hundreds that are injured, and some of them critically injured, polytraumas that are being brought in to facilities like this that aren't necessarily equipped to deal with them. So they have to be stabilized and then move forward, and maybe more of the simple traumas can be here. So tragically, these medical systems are overwhelmed.
Now, is GlobalMedic heading there? What's happening with you?
Yeah, so GlobalMedic's worked in Nepal a few times. The last time was just a couple of years ago for some floods. But we all remember the big earthquake in 15 in Nepal where nearly 10,000 died when we worked there. So we are supporting. We've got local teams and partners we've worked with for years. We've put some funds into them and are deploying them out with some basic aid. And we're just evaluating now if we need to put Canadian boots on the ground to go and help. We're just going to make that determination in the coming hours. And if we're needed and we feel that we can do a lot, our people are on the way. And in the interim, our partners are on the way with more aid as well, and they're really good at what they do. We've worked and stood shoulder to shoulder with them many times, so we have faith in them and we'll support them. And if they need our boots on the ground, we'll be there.
And how can people help?
Yeah, I mean, people can help by going online and making a donation to their favorite aid agency. It's really heartbreaking because this is not going to stay in the headlines, for very long. But the needs are so incredible because it is a very remote, isolated area of Nepal that has just been overwhelmed. And Nepal, geopolitically has really struggled in the last few years, caught between two superpowers. Its economy's been faltering, and this is one of the poorer areas of Nepal to begin with.
Have you seen, I mean, we've had the tragedies, earthquakes in Afghanistan. Have you seen a little bit of donor exhaustion? Any concern about that?
Yeah, I think the world is just on its head and people are tired. Like just before talking to you, I was checking in with a team that's in Acapulco, and Acapulco is completely wiped out because of a hurricane. Otis came in and it just expanded to a 5 all of a sudden, and there's just no water. There's no clean drinking water in Acapulco, and our teams are there, boots on the ground now, trying to get that out, and that's certainly not in the news. And then with the situation in Gaza, and thank goodness, Blinken, your viewers just saw Blinken just reminding people of the humanity, how that 4-year-old child is simply not an armed combatant. And if we dehumanize them by forgetting that they're a child who has the right to life and the right to not get rained down terror with bombs on or lose their families, like when we're just losing our humanity, it seems, in so many cases. But yeah, donor fatigue seems to be out there at a time when needs are rising.
All right, Rahul, thank you very much. Appreciate everything you do.
Take care.
Rahul Singh is the Executive Director of GlobalMedic.